You're listening to www.integralnaked.org.
I want to stay in the space that has been created here, which I in my own shorthand called the God space, and try to speak out of that and say something both abstract and personal about good and evil. And I, as Mark was talking so eloquently about the Kabbalistic inquiry into the issue, I came inevitably to my own tradition, to the non-dual Tantra tradition's view about God, and in this tradition, which is a real take no prisoners, there is absolutely no separation anywhere. So we all contain all of it, all levels, all lines, all states, and everything from the densest to the subtlest. That God has two characteristics that are part of its absolute freedom. One is concealment or forgetfulness, and the other is grace or self-revelation. And these two movements in consciousness are always going on. In my own experience, to live in the full awareness of what that freedom is means I have to come up to the grace level. And the experience of compassion, which we all work on in our own ways, really becomes real only when we are when we're awakened as the Shekinah, as the God who has forgotten, and it's as God that we cry. So and those of you who know that experience know that there's the profundity of the difference between the tears we shed out of pity and the sense of victimhood and the tears we shed as God. And there's just one personal story that's more down to earth. There's a Christian popular writer named Scott Peck who wrote a book once called, I think it's called The People of the Lie. And there's a line in it that completely transformed my experience of ethical practice. And he says, evil is using your power to avoid spiritual growth, which I think is a really great working definition. And in the moment when I first read it, I suddenly had a radical look at my own life. I was running a magazine at the time. And I remembered how 2 days before I had screamed at one of my coworkers because he had faced me with something about myself that I didn't want to look at, and I had the power to make him shut up, which is, I think, a pretty normal act of interpersonal evil.
Yeah.
And in that moment of recognizing that this tiny act was the seed of really what Fred was talking about, it was the seed of all of it, I had one of those big breaking opens. And because in those moments there's nothing you can do. All you can do is experience profound remorse and prayer for change. And I experienced how in that moment of metanoia, when your absolute remorse gives birth to something in you that never was before, which is the true understanding that all beings seek happiness and are just like me. It felt as though grace was born in God as me in that moment. And in some way, that is the moment of when evil is cured. So,
Thank you.
yes,
Thank you.
thank you. And thank you guys so much.